You know what? Let's dive in. We've already had some good chit chat here. This is Remain with Love, an Allagash Brewing podcast where we talk about beer, our community here in Maine, and things that generally make us happy. And we got some special guests. With us, Todd Beaulieu. Beaulieu?
Yeah, it's Beaulieu.
Beaulieu. It's
Very
the
French.
R, man.
Beaulieu.
Well, yeah, it's
Beaulieu.
Beaulieu. Yeah, it's funny because I just literally never say your name out loud. I've been working with Todd for 10 years, and I say his name out loud that infrequently that I don't even know how to pronounce
That's
it.
quite all right.
Senior graphic designer and illustrator. Good to have you, Todd.
Thanks for having me, Brett.
And we got Burke Cherry. I wrote down your title as Soccer Knower.
That's fair.
What would you like your title to be?
You know, that works. I'm down with that.
I had Soccer
It's
Guru.
part of who I am.
I had Soccer Guru before. You like legit earned Soccer Guru, but knower, you know.
Soccer Whisperer.
Soccer Whisperer. Ooh,
There's
I
some
like
charm
that.
to that.
You certainly whispered to us quite a bit, which is great.
Bard of the Ball.
You thought about this a lot?
Well, I want to change my title now.
Just riffing.
Can I be a paladin?
A paladin of the pen, paladin of the Wacom tablet. Yeah. All right. We always start with a secret question. It's something we do. And Todd, you get the first one. What is your current favorite unit in Warhammer 40K?
Oh, jeez.
It's a different game. We're here to talk about soccer, but we're starting with a very different game.
Wow, man, we went from Dungeons and Dragons right over to 40K right away.
Yeah, you got to go quick.
Brett knows that I'm a competitive Warhammer 40,000 player. The game rules are shifting next month, but the jump pack intercessors, very useful unit.
Great.
Always.
Any particular reason? I want like just
Utility.
Utility.
So the price that you have to pay for that unit and their utility in the game as a skirmisher, or to just do actions out in the battlefield, you can't beat it.
This is like an amuse-bouche of Warhammer 40K. We're probably going to do a whole other episode. Burke is giving me this face that's like, what the hell is
Just learning
this
as I
about?
go.
Yeah,
It's the most popular competitive board game in the world.
It is also, it's so deep. Every time Todd has tried to explain it to me, there's it's like an accordion of levels of complexity that just keep accordioning out and out. And it's awesome. But kudos to Todd. He's been crushing it. All right, Burke, you get one because I know you play soccer. What is your go-to soccer feint?
Oh,
Like, do you have a little like move that's like the Burke classic?
you know, in my when I still had some pace, I'm 39 now, so this,
Yeah.
the wheels have come off a little bit. I loved a good nutmeg. I really just like going through people because I was quick.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily a real trick, but it's the most direct route in
Yeah.
a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So that was always kind of my go-to. Yeah, sweet spot.
Always gets a response too.
Yeah. Oh, people
it
love it.
sucks
It's
to
really
get
embarrassing
nutmegged.
for the other person. It takes them a couple
sucks.
seconds. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an embarrassing thing.
I would get nutmeg. I was not a good soccer player ever. Was it ever called a deke? Is that a thing?
That's hockey.
That's hockey.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Like when you're
Triple
going,
deke.
Triple D.
Yeah, because
Mighty Ducks.
that must be what I was thinking of because I was looking it up and I was like, deke, and it's like that's not a term in soccer. So, all right, feint. I got it right. All right, we're here to talk about soccer because soccer is happening. Burke, I think actually, you know what? Before even this, I feel like can we just get a little bit of like the short version of what your sort of role in soccer in Maine has been so far? You don't need to go, into as much depth as you want, but I feel like just you have been instrumental in Hearts of Pine coming to Maine. That is just one of the most exciting things to happen in Maine, I would say personally, in the past like decade. So congrats. Hey, that's freaking awesome. But I guess how would you kind of view yourself in this role?
Yeah, so I come from a filmmaking background and got my first chance to work in sports about, 12, 15 years ago, and it happened to be in soccer. So kind of been working in the soccer industry for the last, since then, really, working predominantly with Major League Soccer and big clubs, Liverpool, Chelsea, U.S. national team, media companies, Paramount Plus, ESPN, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Pandemic hit. My wife has roots off the Mid-Coast in North Haven. We'd been throwing enough rocks in the Gowanus Canal and decided to come to Maine for the summer. And I'm one of those guys.
Good for you.
got through that process, got introduced to Gabe Hoffman Johnson through some mutual friends. They're like, hey, you should talk to this guy. He wants to start a USL club.
How deep was he by that point?
It
How
was.
long have you been doing it for?
He was going through the process, the legal process, the fundraising process, all that kind of stuff. But it was the middle of the pandemic. It's not necessarily a good time to start a live sports, experience company, which is really what it is, right?
Yeah.
We just kind of started flirting in a way via text, sending each other cool random stuff we like. Hey, did you see this jersey release, XYZ?
Yeah.
And then as the world opened up again, we started hanging out at the zoo and watching games and really, starting to put some meat on the bones of his vision, which just closely aligns to what I believe community-driven sports should be.
That's cool.
Having worked with the biggest clubs and the biggest leagues, like it almost made me double down on the smaller markets in a lot of ways. And to me, I'm a big believer that, soccer's trajectory, yes, New York, LA, Dallas, these places are important, but I always like to think of it more like college sports, where my whole family went to Penn State. So State College, Pennsylvania is 30,000 people, but then they get 109,000 people at a game, at a football game.
Yeah.
Tuscaloosa, Alabama. These are not major media markets. And when I look at Portland, there's distinct culture. Maine is a brand in and of itself. It was just such a good opportunity to bring a game that it's the world's game for a reason. It can thrive anywhere.
Yeah.
But there was a really untapped market. And once you start kicking over stones, there's a lot of weird soccer culture here, a lot of love for the sport that just was organic. And we were just trying to put fertilizer on it in a lot of ways.
So you kind of saw that. Like, where did you see that? Because it does feel like it has been this explosion of like so many people were ready for soccer specifically. I guess, where were you seeing that?
Definitely at the bars.
Yeah, sure.
There was a Premier League culture, a bar going, and the zoo, became that place in a lot of ways. And it was I think soccer really thrives when there's some evangelists that have some charisma. And Big Bird, the bartender there, is a huge Arsenal fan. He's like, hey, the owners were not soccer people. And it's like, hey, what if I try this? What if I open for a big game on a 7:30 in the morning and see if I can get my friends to come out, and we'll see how much we sell.
Yeah.
Seems to have worked.
Prove the point.
Yeah.
Now
awesome.
now you can't even get, the Champions League final is coming up this weekend. You're not even gonna be able to get in there unless you get there 2 hours early. And that's, and there was Rerun. There's, some of, the Tottenham fans go here and the Arsenal fans go here. But what I really found too was, especially through my experience on North Haven, basketball is a game that I think there's a strong association with Maine. Hockey, obviously.
Sure.
But this is happening all over the state. Kids are getting on ferry boats to go to other islands to play, middle school soccer. Like, that is really a cool thing that's been happening. There's some amazing soccer culture up in the mountains. And as we got deeper into this process, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
We just needed to kind of shine a light on it with the club.
It's awesome.
Yeah, growing up here in Maine playing soccer, it's always like some of my greatest memories of playing soccer is just like there being a perfectly manicured field in the middle of the woods that you have to the bus would park at the school parking lot.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to walk a mile into the woods to this
Really?
perfectly manicured field. And you'd be like, it's like a dirt road that you have to get down.
Yeah.
Like Field of Dreams.
It kind of is. I watched that movie last night with my son.
Really?
Don't do it with your own boy. You'll cry. You cry so much.
Okay.
Anyway.
I was gonna say, does it hold
but
up?
it is
Apparently
sort of
holds
like
up.
Field of Dreams. Like you just walk out of the woods, and then there's just like this field. It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's I think my background's creative direction and branding and storytelling, really, and I think that became the other link to my journey with soccer in Maine is just telling the stories that we were finding through this journey, and that has become the club brand. We deliberately acted like a lifestyle brand because sports is a lifestyle, and the badge you wear is, it's a badge of honor in a lot of ways. And that's, something we then took into the branding process. I worked with Gabe hand in hand, building that out, ran that branding process, the naming of the club, the motto, all that different stuff.
Yeah.
And have continued behind the scenes, just kind of, working on anything that we can tell a story about, really.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, this is kind of foreshadowing what we're going to talk about too, but I think that the ethos, or at least the intentionality you took in the branding process of every single thing on the logo in the kit, every like has a reason for why it is, the color, the shape, all that sort of stuff. We definitely took that to heart as far as us designing something for ourselves. Of like, we have luckily so much history here at Allagash, being 30 years old, so we were able to kind of pull from those things. So we'll talk about it, but it was a great point. So speaking from a very high level, you, Burke, when you talk to us, and I'm going to give Todd credit here. Todd has been pushing sports here at Allagash for a long time.
Apparently, people like drinking beer when
Watching
they're watching
sports.
sports.
Other
I've
beer
been saying
brands,
it.
other
I've
beer
been
brands
saying it.
maybe have been doing a little something with sports, before this. But I think we very intentionally kind of had carved out this place as Allagash, an outdoorsy, accessible, like kind of like that's what we were owning. And so I think when it came time to talk about sports, we're kind of like, do we have a like who are we in this space? And Todd has definitely been a big force because Todd likes sports. Todd
Big
thinks about
sports honk.
Big sports guy.
As am I.
So you guys have a lot to talk about. But the idea here is then, Burke, you kind of came to the picture and you didn't necessarily pitch us on soccer, but you just like told us what was going on right now. And I think like some of these numbers for like, soccer interest rises, what % in the US around the World Cup? I literally could not find the document in which you had put this. And so I
Yeah, and it's changed. It's a very political World Cup, so it's
true.
kind of a
That's true.
complicated question.
Yeah.
But basically, since '94, that was like this spectacle of soccer coming. And there was Pele in the '80s and '70s and '80s and all this other stuff, but it was very Hollywood. And then '94 came, and people were like, "What is this thing?"
Yeah.
Like, you even look in the stands back then, and like people look confused watching the game. And the World Cup was a different property back then in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
'99 changed everything. The women's team, literally a year after the '98 World Cup, when the U.S. men's national team didn't win a game, they lost to Iran in '98.
Wow.
Went 0-3, crashed out unceremoniously.
Yeah.
'99 World Cup, Brandy Chastain, celebration.
that's
like
right.
they're literally making a movie about it right now.
Yeah.
And it changed everything. And I think it kind of woke people up. And every World Cup since, men's and women's, there's been an uptick. And it kind of does this spike. And then there's a little tail that keeps the low, it brings the low water mark up.
Yeah.
And we're still not sure where that high water mark is, the trajectory. Younger audiences, more diverse audiences, people love this sport, and it's happening year round. It's happening, from a standpoint of like, soccer wasn't a thing people played in the 40s and 50s in the U.S. either.
Yeah.
So we're kind of seeing this first generation of people who grew up in the game now having kids, raising kids in the game, and it's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. And at this point, it's second most popular sport amongst Gen Z.
What's the first?
NFL is still.
I was just saying croquet.
Yeah. Oh yes. Cornhole. Yeah. So there is a consistent upward trajectory. It's had some dips. We missed the 2018 World Cup.
Oh yeah.
Which hurt a lot. But I think it's the real growth of the game is places like Maine. Like that's where it should be happening. Like New York, LA, there's so much noise, but like, it can be a really big fish in a small pond, like here.
Totally. The point you made of soccer is all the time. Definitely, I did not know how much soccer there was happening at all times. Because it's like, men's World Cup this year, women's World Cup next year. You got the European leagues, all of them.
All the
You have
time.
MLS, you have USL. Like, it's just like, there's a lot of soccer going around.
Yeah.
It's never ending. My youngest is doing spring soccer this year.
Oh, yeah?
He did not want to do baseball. He wanted to do soccer. And I completely attribute it to like the rise of Hearts of Pine.
That's cool.
In the
Love
area.
That's great.
The spring soccer league is gigantic.
Oh, really?
It's almost as big as the fall soccer league. It's pretty wild.
Wow.
And there's people playing, Kennedy Park, this like spiritual home of pickup soccer here in Maine.
Yeah.
There's kids that shovel that court every day in the winter and play under the
Wow.
lights when it's, 0 degrees. Like
Yeah.
there's a real commitment to it. And, and at a certain point, like people need to think it's cool. And I think Hearts has done a really good job of like, hey, this thing over here is pretty cool. And it's a great atmosphere, great experience. But I remember when we revealed the brand, I overheard not just one, but multiple people like putting down their deposit. And they're like, I don't even know what this is for. and slowly we've educated them and they know how
Yeah.
many games USL is and this kind of thing. But because of how much soccer, it's kind of overwhelming for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Christian Pulisic, most famous men's player right now, he'll have played in 6 different competitions this year: Champions League, the Italian League, the Italian Cup, the Italian Super Cup. He'll play for the U.S. men's national team in Confederation or in Nations League, World Cup. Well, we didn't have to qualify for the World Cup, but
Lucky us.
like these are. So if you are new to it, it's like, oh my God, how much is this? But then once you get in, you get that little taste.
The first taste is free.
Well, I mean, American sports are trying to make like our sports as entertaining all year long as well. Like with the NBA, they have that cup now. That's a mid-season championship,
which is straight from the soccer playbook.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's just like they want to be relevant as relevant as soccer is
baseball
everywhere else
too, right? The classic, World Classic.
Yeah, the baseball classic is going to be
And
consistently.
the amount of people in Japan who watched the the baseball classic blew my mind. It was like 80% of the country or something was watching that game.
Absolutely.
Or those games.
And it's no accident that the NFL is investing, in Nigerian players and storytelling around that, and the way they're starting to, these international games. It's there's kind of a reverse commute now happening. Soccer's been trying to come here for ages as the biggest media market in the world. And now the NFL is like, oh, well, we got that on lock. Well, we got to get over there. And I don't think it's long until we see a Parisian, NBA team. Like it's going to happen.
And the NFL is, I think they're doing 16 international games this year. So every week there's going to be an international game.
That's crazy.
It's not just Europe, but they're going everywhere.
How are those selling? Like, is there interest
people
over
go
there?
crazy, and there's now like iconic commentators who are the NFL commentators for the BBC.
Yep.
I studied abroad in London when I was, this 2007.
Yeah,
it was the Bears. They ran back the opening kickoff, and then they got crushed. I forget. Yeah, but the culture.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Devin Hester.
Yeah,
Exactly.
of course it was.
Yeah,
Totally.
of course it was. But there was to be in London watching what most people perceive as the world's biggest sporting event, and it's not.
Yeah.
5 billion people are going to watch the World Cup around the world.
Nuts. Yeah.
300 million watching the Super Bowl is really nothing. It really is pretty wild. But there is culture, around all this stuff. And, I think that's the other, thing is, as we were building out Hearts, any clubs I work with, or, we need to localize the culture. Like it needs to feel and smell and taste like Maine. And that's what we set out to do. And, and that's of course why we've been working with you guys. Cause you are one of the definitive Maine brands.
Yeah. And I think like that point too is feels like it has come from more and more places of, you just have to be specific to the place you're in, because no one can be universal anymore. Like nothing is universal. Everything is siloed in different places. And there's so much stuff that like you have to be who you are. And so coming to then us, Allagash relationship with soccer, how do we show up? And in coming to it, or at least I had this sort of picture of, there are these huge brands that come to soccer, and how can you compete? How can you compete in this space with these brands that are like spending, oodles of money on gigantic placements or like, celebrity sponsorships and that sort of a thing? And I think you, Burke, kind of brought us this way to be here authentically that ended up being this awesome sort of like nucleus for all of these things we're doing around soccer, which is a jersey. Is a kit a jersey and the shorts? Is that what a kit is?
Yeah, the kit is the full and the socks.
And the socks.
Yeah.
All right.
Todd, got to design some socks now.
Because you got the jersey.
Yeah.
I did design a full kit with socks in mind early on.
I definitely saw that then.
Yeah, we had worked on it pretty early with a specific vendor, with the assumption that we were going to go with a specific vendor and sell the socks and the shorts. We weren't going to buy as many of those, that's for sure.
Yeah. And when you wear the whole thing, it's you're dubbed a full kit wanker. So you're aware.
Yeah.
Is that
I don't know if we have to bleep that out
is
on
that
the
a British
Allagash.
only thing? No,
It is. But if you want to act like a goof, you go full kit wanker.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So is it like,
I think of the guys who recently were like dressed in pads for the Stanley Cup Finals from Buffalo, who were roller skating around Boston, trying like fighting traffic cones and stuff.
It's the ultimate cosplay.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty
funny.
wild.
Good for them. So there was the feeling that, at least from me hearing, okay, Allagash can just kind of make a jersey. It felt like really, It really? Like you just make a jersey and be like, who cares? Like who's gonna care that Allagash makes a jersey? But I think Burke, you kind of told us like, no, people care. People like this sort of stuff. And so it really has borne out. Like it is a thing that you can create, and how the execution of it is, it feels like it's kind of 98% of the important part, where you can anyone can put out a jersey, but like putting out a good jersey that then resonates is like, that takes a lot of work, which was where I think main reason why Todd is here to talk about a lot of that jersey stuff. But I mean, I say this as like, why can Allagash do this? But like, there's honestly a lot of soccer love in our brewery that we have found, of just people who watch it. But like Jason, our brewmaster, literally was, I think, the captain of a soccer team in college. He's a Hearts season ticket holder. There's also Liz, who's another Hearts season ticket holder. I'm sure there are a number of other people here, but like,
I want to be a Hearts season ticket holder.
Didn't get in early enough.
I can't even.
Getting
I
that
can't even get
7,000
on the
queue.
wait list for the wait list. It's like insanity.
It is cool. It's an experience, and there's a reason why people really want to be a part of it. But so we set about saying, okay, well, we want to create a jersey. What does that even mean? Who should we try to even work with on this jersey? And where we ended up, I think, was way more exciting than I had ever expected. Because I came at this being like, I don't know, we're work with these local guys, work with this little thing. And then Burke, you were like, work with Umbro. We were like, what? We can do that? And we did that, which was really cool. So can you tell us like a little bit, Burke, of like Umbro, like what is Umbro to soccer?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what you guys are to craft beer, and that's why that made sense to me.
Yeah.
This history, this heritage, this class in simple good things.
Sure.
You guys have a clear vision of who you are and what you stand for, and that's how I view Umbro.
Sure.
They're one of the iconic old school brands. You know, through their 100+ year history, they've worked with the biggest clubs in the world. They were a huge part of the '94 World Cup as well, and that era when you guys were launching. You know, they had the Mexican national team then, and Brazil, and so there was just a lot of symmetry in an interesting way. And Umbro jerseys are just clean, and they've got this modern retro thing that, you know, we've kind of pulled in, you know, with Hearts, with the Hummel brand, another, you know, classic old school brand that, you know, is defined by craftsmanship and these things. And, you know, that's exactly what you guys are. So that always made sense in my head. It turns out my friend works with them. So that also helps grease the wheels a little bit.
That's a helpful in.
Yeah. And I'm super glad that we went the Umbro route. I think early on in the process, like creating the jersey was more of like a promo item. And just like, we got to have a jersey because we're going to build out a larger campaign around soccer because we want to show up for soccer. And so like for some stakeholders, like who the producer of the jersey was kind of inconsequential to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is a mistake too.
Yeah.
And that's not.
And I felt the same way. I'm a big jersey
criticism,
guy.
but-
It's really important to sports fans, especially people who like buying jerseys or sweaters of their favorite teams, to go with a brand that they trust and one with as much heritage as Umbro. So once we made that connection, like that definitely opened up the design direction on where we wanted to go. Sort of those cleaner lines, kind of inspired that retro throwback that we wanted to approach with the design.
Yeah, and I think with you know, with this stuff that you kind of I remember talking to Jeff early on about this process of like, how do we, you know, these are buzzwords, but authenticity, become part of the culture. You know, the decision to go with Umbro already shows that, you know, like if you know, you know. Type. It's one of those brands. You know, Nike's multi-sport. Umbro is associated with soccer history.
Totally.
And that's something that if you want to kind of cut the line on being part of soccer culture, that was I think quite strategic as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And interesting thing I learned about Umbro is for folks of, I think, our generation, those shorts, there were like a checkerboard pattern short that were like, there was one of the checkers was kind of shiny, the other checker was kind of matte. They went back and forth. Like those black checkerboard shorts were soccer when I was growing up. And the funny thing is that was only in America. That was an American phenomenon, those shorts. Nowhere else in the world is Umbro known for those shorts. But it's like, that is Umbro to me, which is just funny.
We don't have hundreds of years of soccer history here. We actually do. We just we kind of cover it up and are ashamed of it in a lot of ways. And there's been leagues that have come and gone, but I think that when soccer did kind of come online here, and to the point of those shorts, like 90s, that was part of 90s fashion for any kid in elementary school,
100%.
myself included.
It was like those in the Adidas nubbly slip-ons.
Oh yeah, that were so painful, but you still wore them because you wanted to be part of it.
Terrible. They always hurt.
Always hurt.
Oh man, yeah, those are awful.
And we're looking at Birkenstocks are cool again. It's like all the stuff is cyclical, and but not Umbro. They've always been in the U.S. market. They've always kind of taken care of it. I think that's part of it too.
Yeah.
But it is a recognizable micro brand in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and that was awesome for you to point. And I think that was one of those things where it's like me coming into this being not as big a soccer fan. I wouldn't have known that, but it's like that's where the value of having you, Burke, having you, Todd, be in there and have this awareness of like this means a lot more than you think it means, which ended up bearing out. So designing this thing, Todd, we went through a lot of versions.
We did, yeah.
Real
this
quick.
was pretty fun. Like I don't get to design jerseys for a living.
Yeah, and that's like kind of an interesting thing to start on. Is like, Todd, normally what you're designing here at Allagash is like beer cans, merch, posters.
There's not even that much merch. I think when it comes down to it, it's the core business functions of marketing and making sure that beer can get out to the market and be sold. So when it comes down to labels, packaging, selling materials, and then just different communication that allows for our beer to get out to the market and be presented to the consumers and also to our business partners.
Yeah.
So merchandise has not been traditionally a lot of what I've done, but it's always fun when the opportunities pop up. And I think this one's really pretty unique in the sense that it was going to be a part of a larger campaign that was also going to be consumer facing.
It was a lot of pressure, to be very honest with you, Todd.
Yeah,
we kind of pitched this thing too.
I was pretty much assumed that somebody else was going to design this jersey, but just doing some mock-ups really early for the campaign materials, and showing those to Burke here. He gave me the confidence to like dive into this, and I really appreciate that vote of confidence when you started seeing some of the stuff that I was throwing on paper early on, and then bringing in the communication with starting that communication with Umbro and kind of seeing the cuts that they had, the silhouettes that they were offering up to us. That kind of just opened up a lot of really cool ideas as well.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was just like we wanted this jersey to be a promo material at shelf in some instances. We wanted it to be a giveaway product. So when you're doing giveaway or promo items, they're generally going to be low cost items that you want, that, it still excite people.
Yeah.
But, the Umbro tag on this thing kind of upped it a little bit and changed the design process.
Totally.
Which allowed for it to kind of break away from the core branding of the campaign a little bit. I think it was able to kind of speak to our brand in a deeper way, as opposed to just kind of speaking to the campaign.
Yeah. The thing I was going to mention too is like our primary color, if you think of Allagash and you think of Allagash white, is yellow.
Yep.
And we very early on were like, it cannot be yellow.
Yellow works on some people and it works on a lot less people.
Yeah.
So
it's a choice.
It's
a choice.
So we made that distinct choice to focus on the blues in our river illustration pretty early on. And there's some subtleties in that blues, different screen levels on our can and in different packaging really lended itself to the overall silhouette and these darker blues and almost like purplish blue.
Yeah, and I mean, when I throw this into the blog and on the site, we'll have images of this jersey, so you're not just like imagining pure theater of the mind here. You'll be able to actually see the jersey. But I mean, there are a lot of details in this. Even though it's a really clean, simple design, there are a lot of small decisions, and I feel like the first big decision was like what are you doing with this big canvas? Are you doing like lines? Are you doing bands? Are you doing hoops, as I've come to learn,
Yep.
is what the Hearts have done, where it's the sort of like
Horizontal.
big horizontal color blocks.
Stripes are vertical, hoops are horizontal.
Yeah, which love that jersey. Bought that jersey recently. Sick jersey. So Todd, we ended up with this sort of flowing, thinner lines.
Yeah, these stripes, as Burke just mentioned, vertical lines.
Yes.
With this almost like sine wave kind of flow to it.
Yeah.
And it features all the different blues of our river illustration on our cans, as well as what I like to call this electric blue. That was a key design element of the campaign. So it's kind of able to kind of tie in to the campaign a little bit, but leans heavily on the river colors, and it is expressed through that flowing kind of water illustration.
The other big, and this is, I feel like this was like a puzzle inside of an enigma, is the crest.
I knew exactly where you're going.
You know,
Yep.
like, because it's like you have a jersey, and then it's like, okay, but we need a crest, a team crest that represents Allagash. And it's like, okay, so you need to brand Allagash as a soccer team within this jersey you're already branding. And that was that was big. And Todd ended up with something, like, what'd you do? Like 20 crests?
Oh, it could have been
15
more.
It
crests?
was quite a bit more. I think. I think. Luckily, we kind of found something like really impactful in our trademark tap handle shape.
Yeah.
That kind of is the binding box of the crest. I always knew I wanted to have like the world, quote unquote, World Cup championship stars above the crests, like a lot of teams, or most teams do.
Ones that win it.
Yeah, ones that win it. If
Our
don't
women's
win
team
it-
had 4 of them, and
Yeah,
they look
yeah.
real good.
Yeah.
And we've won. Allagash White in particular has won gold at the World Beer Cup times.
It had three at the time.
At the time of the
Yeah.
design, it has recently just won its 4th gold.
We can add another one.
So we have to add another star to the
Yeah.
crest, which is pretty awesome. So when we're thinking about how do we brand Allagash in the soccer universe, like those are the details that we definitely wanted to include. Those little nuances there. Obviously, we didn't just want to slap a logo on it because that just feels, I don't want to say, I guess, cheap to a certain degree,
it's
but
lazy.
It's like
lazy. Yeah.
it just feels like not inspiring, I think. And like that's the other thing I was going to mention is just it says Allagash across the chest in the place that normally there is a advertisement,
sponsor. Yeah.
Etihad, or like, whatever.
Yeah, and we did. I remember early in the process, we were like trying to figure out, because if you do this here, then you do something here. And
Yeah.
it was, I think we talked about white, or even just putting beer
Yeah.
with the Belgian,
Yeah, the Flemish.
yeah,
Tried
the
that.
Flemish spelling.
Yeah, that raised a lot of eyebrows.
Which then would have put Allagash into the crest, but I think where it landed, it kind of got all that balance in, all that storytelling in,
totally.
and
Yeah. It
and
definitely
it's clean. It's clean,
It's
and
clean.
it's also rooted to soccer history too. There's off the top of my head, one of my favorite crests. It's literally a white circle with a black L, Legia Warsaw,
Whoa.
and it's just this really cool. And they're a 100-year-old club.
That's good.
It's just like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's a
type of thing.
100-year-old design.
But it's like both modern and super old in a lot of ways. And I think just to shout out my personal opinion, the real genius was the tap handle was. Once that, I was like, that is so cool. Because it is a bigger decision when, if you're launching a team, or even a lot of, co-ed teams, you design your own crest to play in the pub, the Sunday league type of thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of intentionality of a circle versus a traditional crest and
like a
these
coat
kind
of
of
arms
things.
or
But to
something.
even drive that storytelling in through that, I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is
Yeah.
cool.
And it's, if you actually gave us a entire book of crests, and I
Mhm.
think the thing that struck me about the book is
It was a little overwhelming.
it was
early on.
overwhelming. Well, I'm sure that like made your eyes just pop out of your head, Todd. But also, there's no consistency.
Nothing. Yeah.
That was the part that was like, dang it.
Yeah.
It's like, I wish there was kind of a formula here
Yeah.
to follow, but there was no formula. You just do something.
And it doesn't even honor really design trends in a lot of ways. Like,
Oh.
it's starting to now, where everything's getting so simple, and if you can't like turn it into a stamp, and to the point that it's lost a lot of meaning.
Yeah.
And I know when we were designing hearts, we we wanted something that kind of went against modern trends and
Yeah.
was overly fussy and complicated.
Sure.
There's this great era in the 70s that was very much following the design trends then. Some of the ugliest crests came out with these like old clubs and like, yeah, we're going to get on trend.
Oh, no.
And then, some Leeds United and some of these, and they're beautiful again in a weird way.
Yeah.
But man, they're tough to look at back then.
Oh, that's
yeah.
so good. So
We're
on
just
the
all
back-
looking and admiring
We're
it.
just it's on the wall. On the back, there's some other details on there. We put a number on it, 95. That
Which-
represents
That's the year that
year we're founded.
Rob started the brewery. Yeah, but 95 just made sense. We've actually done an old school baseball 3/4 shirt back in the day. It's probably the third or fourth T-shirt Rob had ever sold.
Yeah.
And it had the number 95 on it. So there was that history there where we actually wanted to include the 95 again here. It just made sense. If we're going to pick any number, 95 was the one that made the most sense.
Yeah.
We had bandied around doing number 3 for the 3 World Cup wins.
Yeah, it starts getting arbitrary pretty soon.
Yeah.
So
95 was the least arbitrary number, essentially. But I don't want to say least arbitrary. It was actually a meaningful number.
Very intense.
The
the
intentional
most
number.
meaningful number.
The most meaningful number. And what's cool about the 95 on the back, it also features the tap handle shape kind of cut out of the 5.
Some leaves in there.
As well as the Allagash leaf as a texture across.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool textures. We got some Umbro, the jacquard,
Chevrons, yeah.
chevrons.
Yeah.
Chevrons.
I wanted to do the jacquard.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
You
but
were
it was
passionate about
I
that early on,
I really
early and
wanted-
often.
I really wanted to
You
do
were.
the
Well,
jacquard.
next year we got.
And
got a
then we
chance.
learned about international production and textiles, and then realized
Yeah.
that was not going to be possible.
Yeah.
Next year, maybe.
Hey,
We'll see.
You never know.
Maybe a wake it.
Yeah. So
Look really good on white.
Mm-hmm.
so we're in the process. We have a jersey. What do you do? I think for a lot of people, it's kind of okay, cool. You made a jersey, whatever. But the cool part is, first there's announcing the jersey, which went really well. People took it really there was a very cool. Actually, we got a men's health article that was basically is this the coolest thing to buy before the World Cup? And it was hell yeah,
Pretty
brother.
sweet.
Yeah. But on top of just people being excited, people buying it up, we sold out of our first batch. We have a new batch coming in a couple weeks. This podcast will probably drop when it's maybe a couple weeks out. So that's exciting that we have that. But then from a beer brewery perspective, okay, what do we do with this thing? And the cool thing is you can do a lot with a really cool jersey. And so we made all these other items custom hats, scarf, t-shirts. And I say I mean Todd designed all these other items. Coasters, koozies, posters, floor displays. We bought a freaking mannequin and we put this jersey on a mannequin, and it's great. We had it standing up at the zoo, I think, actually, for a little bit.
mhm.
Yeah, very exciting. We got a Beano board too, which is an entire other conversation.
Ooh.
Yeah. We should have just started the whole podcast playing a Beano game. And
Just
see who
hear
won.
the sound of the
Ting,
Beano
yeah,
ball
yeah,
being
yeah.
flicked, hear the nails falling off
Yeah.
as you play too much.
Yeah, you're not passionate unless you have a black and blue fingernail.
You flick
Once-
a little ceramic ball into a net. That's
Yeah.
basically what it is.
Great
Uh,
game.
Yeah, but in terms of all these other items, I Brett, you spoke to it. We had to design a soccer brand.
Yeah.
Within just to complete the jersey, and so in doing that, now we have this quote unquote IP that this would be really cool. There's different stuff.
Yeah.
And as we started to evolve the purpose of the jersey, it opened up the opportunity for other low cost promo items like hats and all these other things that you mentioned, promo T-shirts as
Yep.
well that are kind of duplicative or representative of the jersey as well. So we were really excited to kind of build out this whole kind of collection of available items to help our sales team go out there and sell beer into accounts and make sure that we could show up authentically as a soccer brand as
Yeah.
well, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I think going back to initial conversations, of the why, and
Yeah.
I think that's that going deep, not wide with what you
Yeah.
care about. I think
Yep.
Allagash does that across the board. You can tell what you guys care about and stand for.
Yeah.
And soccer happens to be one of those things now, and
Yeah.
to see it come out in a full, the full vision, and we'll see where it takes us too. Because as we discussed, soccer never sleeps.
It does not.
So
Yeah.
the Allagash Soccer Club will never sleep either. It's going to be everywhere.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like even so bars and restaurants make sense for, okay, you can have a, watch party and you're raffling off a jersey, or you can host a Bino tournament, which we're actually going to be doing, like little Bino
Nice.
tournament playing against each other. You win the jersey. Also as sort of like an incentive for wholesalers and things like that. But you even have it as something in like store where you're doing sweepstakes now, where you can get up displays in a grocery store, in a liquor store. So there's all these really cool knock-on sort of benefits that this jersey brings us, which has been on top of it just being cool and people being excited to wear it, and it just feeling like building something that's a part of the culture that's additive and is not necessarily just like, hey,
Look at us.
yeah. we're part of soccer too. Like we actually were able to create something. So kudos, Todd.
And I feel like
Kudos
you
for
could feel.
bringing us
Thank
to
you,
it.
thank you, Brad.
Yeah, man.
I think you could always feel when somebody has put passion into the work and is like excited about doing this stuff, as opposed to like just checking boxes, right?
Yeah.
We pride ourselves on not just checking boxes here at Allagash. And there's a reason we're invested in soccer. Everybody here is super stoked about soccer in general. But Hearts of Pine has really kind of reawakened people's love for soccer if they've already had it, or they're like only just doing Sunday morning English Premier League teams. Now everybody's checking in on how did the Hearts do this week.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking
localized
about soccer a lot more often.
Yeah.
And there was always that passion, but now that there's there's a part of the business that's dedicated to soccer. Like it's part of our conversations here at work every day, more so than ever.
Yeah.
The literal fabric,
Yeah.
part of the fabric.
Whoa.
But I, and to that point, when you find something you love, you'll find others there for the same reason. And I
Totally.
think that, Hearts was kind of this unifying force, but there's all these different flavors within this community. And,
Yeah.
and the beer community coming together with soccer just makes a lot of sense. Like the soccer pub has been part of the identity in the United States. That was, there was a legendary, the first real soccer bar in New York City called Nevada Smith's, and it was the only one. Now every club has 3 affiliated bars and this
Yeah.
and that, but in the 90s and 2000s, it was the only place that had it on TV.
Huh.
And there was a bar like that in Chicago. That's the Globe. There was a bar like that in DC, in Philly, all those things. And now it's just gotten so much louder, but to have this distinct culture here and to have Allagash be such a driving force in the local soccer culture,
Yeah.
as it really is a match made in heaven.
I will say it has been extremely fortuitous for us that our sort of main tagline is "From Maine with Love," and to be at the Hearts of Pine game with a giant "From Maine with Love" banner. Every time I see that at the Hearts,
Makes
I'm
me
like,
smile.
oh yeah, I'm just like, hell yeah, brother! It's so good. It's so fun to see that, and I think the ethos of it being local, celebrating the community that the Hearts have done, so that you built into that brand so well, like the font choice and the C and the Heart Bandit, like all that stuff gives it this sense of weight and purpose. But I think that being there, seeing our sort of message at that game, having Kickabout Lager there, our beer there, that's like seeing people with that in their hands.
And the jerseys walking by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People wearing. So we're calling it the
I
Deep
rock
Currents
mine.
jersey. Oh,
I rock
did you
mine.
really?
Yeah,
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
it was
That's
covered up
amazing.
because it was one of the rainy days,
Ah,
but it was there.
There've been a lot of those.
Yeah,
days.
I left it open.
Yeah.
You can
There
see
you go.
Todd's work.
Yeah, but I get a little feeling of you have like Fenway, you have the big signs, that you have the big sit go sign or something like that. I get that feeling of like we just got to keep this thing going because this is becoming a part of the fabric of this experience, which is just so cool to kind of be a part of. So
Yeah, and I think you guys are the OGs of representing Maine culture to the mass market, right? Allagash is a brand that goes across the country, globally respected. I mean, 4 World Cup wins. Congratulations,
Yeah,
guys!
thank you so
I
much.
hadn't heard
That's
that
just
news.
the golds for white.
That's wild.
the crazy. We're certainly the most award-winning wheat beer in the world, easily.
And that's from Maine.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
all the beers and all the land,
Yeah.
and I think that's something that I think unifies when you really embrace Maine as a brand and put that through everything you do. You can
Yeah.
punch above the weight of your weight class, like
Yeah.
the state does it all the time.
And Maine definitely means something. And I think Hearts of Pine has proved that as well. And honestly helped us prove that a little bit all over again to ourselves, because I think we've historically had a question of like, well, what does Maine mean to someone in Indiana? And it turns out something, and like,
it's more than vacation land too. I think
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this just so much as a, part of me getting to, move here. I'm from Pennsylvania originally. I lived in New
Yeah.
York City for a long time. Those are places that are part of who I am. But,
Yeah.
By doing the research to build the brand for Hearts, every page, every book, spending time with the Historical Society, that's the kind of person I am
Oh,
to
nice.
do
There you
research on
go.
this stuff. But you just like fall in love with the people and the culture. And
There's so much
in
romance
in
to
this,
it.
in this
Yeah.
loud modern world, it's a place that like, we're getting written up in Forbes for landlines being on the rise again.
Yeah.
And
Oh
when
my
my friends
God,
in New
that's
York City
crazy.
are messaging like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I got a hamburger phone for my son for Christmas. And
There you
like,
go.
it's like, this is the way life should be. And that's
Yeah.
not just a tagline, and it's not just vacation land either. It's year round, like love for the outdoors, love
Yep.
for good products and
Yeah.
supporting local. We don't have billboards, like
Yeah.
let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
We've got
Yeah.
a little oasis here.
Yeah. And there's the other aspect to it, I'd say, is the DIY.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've really come to love, is just people like Rob, our founder, did it himself. But I think Hearts of Pine, like that
Gabe,
came out.
that's
nothing.
through and through.
Yeah. And it's
The
just
can
really
do.
cool.
Yeah.
Don't ask for permission. Just go and do it.
Yeah.
And you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall on your face, but there is a level of perseverance, and that's the stuff that's written into the brand on a page for Hearts. We have, that's literally one of ours, one of our key values.
Yeah.
And it really does set the tone for the brand. And you guys have your own version of that I've got to experience through this process. And it's more than just good beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I mean, the microcosm of DIY in this jersey is Todd, you designing it. It's us, you not being a soccer jersey designer.
It was really crazy to see him sew all of them too.
Yeah. Yeah. But like going even further back, that can-doerism that's steeped in RT. I mean, he
Oh, yeah.
turned that first tap handle on his own personal lathe.
Yeah.
That tap handle that then became our crest on
Yeah.
our jersey.
Yeah.
Like it's in everything we do. I mean, Rob welded his first ladder ton together back in '95 so that he could make beer out of an old milk churner.
Yeah.
And we're still doing that today. I mean, like we have an insanely robust like lab program here that we take care of all of our beer and propagate our own yeast. And
Yeah, I was going to say we
everything.
grow our own yeast.
Grow
We don't
our
rely on
own
anyone for that.
yeast, and then our engineering department has an entire tire fabrication space where we're essentially able to fix basically anything that breaks down.
Pilot
our
beers,
brewery
pilot beers
ourselves.
too, coming from all employee suggestions. Yeah, it runs.
And you
Let's
can
do-
taste it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's why it does taste different, where everyone else is buying, starting the microbrewery and craft brewery, and they're buying the same,
The same
Yeah.
yeast.
Yeah,
same
yeah.
things from the same people and
Yeah.
expecting different results. And, it is that DIY nature, really runs through, I think, the best of Maine. And that's from our local restaurants, our breweries,
Totally.
our soccer teams.
Yeah.
Both
Nice.
real and not
imaginary.
real and imaginary, like the Allagash Soccer Club.
All right. So as a place to land, like we're talking about soccer, like Allagash is definitely going to be showing a lot of soccer. We're going to be showing as many World Cup games as we can that we are like literally in our time zone, I think. And so look on our website to see what games we're showing. Hearts of Pine away games. We've been doing a lot of watch parties for those. It's been amazing. So I think if you're interested in experiencing soccer through Allagash, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. Look on our website for that. Thank you, Burke. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, fellas.
This
Thanks
has
for
been a
having me.
pleasure. Great.
All right, when we getting started on the next kit?
I've already designed it. What are you talking about? It's done.
Let's get the jacquard.
I've already sent it to our overseas partners. No.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Who knows?
The email's drafted though.
Yeah.
For
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Well,
The email's drafted.
we gotta talk
yeah.
about it.
To more.
Yes, exciting.
I've already requested fabric samples and everything. Jacquard.
All right. This has been an Allagash Brewing production. If you have something you'd like to talk to us about or a question for our team, just send us an email at podcast@allagash.com. And as always, thanks for listening. Nice job. Go. That was fun.